I went into the army, and they had the same sort of thing where they'd have church parades and things like that, and I was like, oh, boring. But so I had that sort of background of it, but I had really no interest in whatsoever in God or Jesus or anything. I mean, I knew the sort of story, but I didn't really put it all together.
You knew about him, but you didn't know him.
Exactly.
Dad was an atheist. He didn't give God any thought whatsoever. Mum raised us to believe in God, and we, as children, every night we would pray. When this happened, Mum and Dad had basically come to the end of the marriage, the end of everything. Both of them together had come to the end of themselves, and as Dad said, he called out to God.
I had this like a mental breakdown sort of thing, but it was happening for about 2 or 3 months before we left, and then I went to the hospital, and they said there's nothing wrong with you, and get on with it, sort of thing. Just drop me off in Kings Park, and I'll be all right. So I just walked around Kings Park for the day, and I never talked to God ever up until this point. And I thought, oh well, I'm going to have to talk to him, and I'm going to have to ask him to reveal himself to me. You know, if he's real, he's going to have to reveal himself to me. Because this is nonsense, you know. So,
and as Dad said, he called out to God in his desperation.
And so Dot said to me, you know, you have to ask Jesus into your heart and all that sort of thing. You know, and so I did, and then you know, because my head was not in the right space from all the drugs and alcohol. It took me a little while to sort of get an understanding of what was going on, but what I started to do was test God by praying and asking him for things, and then all of a sudden things would start happening, and it's like, oh, this is neat. Why didn't I cotton onto this earlier?